So Donald Trump has already committed to this particular economic policy when he gets in office. By the way, he's asserting he has the ability to unilaterally do it by declaring a national emergency. But he's pledging to slap a 25% tariff on all products from Canada and Mexico, plus a 10% one on imports from China. So he came out the other day and said this. Now, I'm going to walk you through this, guys. I'm going to walk you through this, but I'll get to the list in a second of what we bring in from Mexico. And let's just say it's probably more than you think. So this will have a tremendous impact on the economy. So here's what they say in Mediaite. President-elect Trump pledged to impose a 25% tariff on all products entering the country from Canada and Mexico on Monday, as well as an additional 10% tariff on Chinese imports. As everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before, wrote Trump in a Truth Social post. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico composed of thousands of people seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our currently open border. Basically, what he says is, in order to stop migrants, crime, drugs, I'm going to do this tariff. And if they can shut down the migrants and crimes and drugs, then maybe I won't do the tariff. That's basically the idea. Now, you're not going to be surprised to learn, like fentanyl is brought up. 80% of the fentanyl that comes in this country is brought by U.S. citizens. So again, and also the idea, like, in Canada and in Mexico, they have a big red button on the president's desk, like, push this to stop the flow of migrants and drugs and crime into the U.S. Like, Trump literally makes it seem like they're purposefully hurting the United States. Like, it was an actual policy choice that they voted on. Like, let's pass the Hurt the United States of America Act. When oftentimes, as I'm sure you all know, it's a lot of our own policies that bring about these things. It is the drug war that has led to the thriving black market of drugs that leads to the crime and the problems associated with it, right? It's a lot of our regime change policies in Central and South America that lead to floods of immigrants coming into this country. But that's his idea, 25% tariff on all products coming into the U.S. Okay, so, well, what do we bring in from the United States? What do we bring in from Mexico to the United States? We're not even talking about Canada here. I'm just giving you Mexico. So you have vehicles, so cars and car parts, auto parts and equipment, electronics and appliances, crude petroleum, medical instruments, beer, plastic items, gems and precious metals, and then also vegetables, fruits, and nuts. We do hundreds of billions of dollars of trade. Mexico is our top trade partner. So now, I'm not kidding when I say Trump tries to make the argument, this isn't going to affect prices. The tariffs are not going to affect prices. That's a myth. That's not true. It's not true. Guys, I'll explain this as simply as I can. Literally, the whole point of a tariff is to raise prices. Now, you might say, well, why would you want to raise prices? Well, listen to this. In some specific instances, it makes sense. So, for example, let's say there's a foreign car company that's eating our lunch, and Americans are buying this foreign car at a tremendously high rate, and it is hurting our domestic production of a car that we make that competes with this foreign car. Well, it could be, in that scenario, a logical thing to do, to slap a tariff on this foreign car, which is being imported into this country and being sold at a higher rate. Let's put a tariff on this so that in order to sell this car in the United States, it's actually going to cost a little more than the car that we make domestically that competes with it. And in that scenario, what you're doing is you are incentivizing the consumer, hey, if all other things are relatively equal, and this foreign car and the domestic car are kind of similar in how they function, why don't you buy the cheaper domestic-made car because it's cheaper and because it helps our economy because you're buying from a domestic factory, right? So the whole idea of the tariff is, let's make this foreign car more expensive to make our domestic car that competes with it more competitive. And make it so that sales go up for that, and that helps our economy, and that helps our domestic producers and manufacturers. That's the whole point. So to say you're going to slap a 25% tariff on everything coming into the US from Mexico and Canada, all of those goods are going to go up in price. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the problem, and this is why Trump is just honestly not that smart, does he not realize we don't have the particular industries in every single field to compete with these foreign industries? In some instances we do, and in those instances, a targeted tariff might make sense depending on the situation. But to slap an across-the-board tariff on everything from Canada and Mexico, you are begging for higher price. You are begging for higher prices. And for what? And for what? I mean, it's economic insanity. And remember, this is coming from somebody in the past. I've defended certain tariffs. I've defended some degree of protectionism. But you have to be intelligent with how you implement it. An across-the-board tariff is psychotic. If you mix tariffs with mass deportations, oh my God, you are begging for the economy to collapse. You're begging. And it looks like he's trying to follow through on both of those things. So I told you guys, this is going to go south real quick. The only potential way out of this is, so Trump says he's going to do the 25% tariff. I'm being way too kind here with even giving this scenario. But he's using that as sort of a negotiating position to try to make Mexico do more in terms of stemming the flow of migration. And effectively, he says he's going to do 25% tariff, but he immediately grants waivers on it. So on the books, the tariff is there, but then he grants waivers to like every country, and there are no tariffs, and the prices stay the same. But it could be some sort of a negotiating tactic, right? That's possible. That would be the only way that these moves make sense. Because if he's serious about it, it's just economic psychosis. There's no other way to describe it. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.